Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on the Saturday, August 3rd, 2024. And we're going to be tracking for you in this video a tropical storm or hurricane moving into Florida and the southeast coast. We're going to be tracking the impacts this will bring as well to the United States, and we're going to be looking at a major heat wave that will bring more severe weather across portions of the United States this weekend. And we'll also look ahead at the long range pattern into next week to show you what you can expect out your door as well. So make sure to like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get those after the video, and subscribe to the channel for the latest weather information right at your fingertips. So what you're looking at here is the GOES satellite, and you can see this is actually starting to spin up here across western Cuba and toward the Florida Keys as Tropical Depression 4, and likely this is going to become Debby, a Tropical Storm Debby, over the next 24 to 48 hours, and possibly even a Category 1 or 2 hurricane as it makes landfall toward the Big Bend of Florida. So here's the latest track from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. The cone of uncertainty pushes this up as Tropical Storm Debby by tomorrow morning around 8 a.m., continues as a tropical storm through tomorrow evening into Monday morning. It does show tropical storm strength, but I would not be surprised if this rapidly intensifies to a Category 1, possibly a Category 2 hurricane upon landfall there in the Big Bend of Florida. And then it kind of just meanders around Georgia, South Carolina for days and days. This could bring a very significant flooding risk over that time frame by middle to late week. So let's look at a couple scenarios here, looking at the GFS model, the pressure anomalies here, and basically this shows you where the pressure is the strongest, and you can see right here is where the center of that pressure is, just west of the Keys today. That'll be pushing up here, rapidly intensifying the warm water temperatures here just west of Florida to a 995 millibar, a tropical storm, possibly hurricane there as we go into Sunday, especially later Sunday. And then the GFS moves this over the Big Bend, making landfall there into places like Tallahassee as we go into Monday. And then it kind of just meanders around southern and southeastern Georgia, with the central low pressure on the GFS closing in on Savannah, Georgia by Tuesday, August 6th, early next week. Let's look also at the European ensemble guidance here, and you can see we are actually seeing this just west of the Keys today, so similar to the GFS. Doesn't strengthen it as quickly as the GFS, but still moving it in a similar direction, again just west of Florida on Sunday. And then it kind of moves over the Big Bend, maybe a little bit further east of a model solution than the GFS model showed, and then over the open waters of just off the coast of South Carolina and Georgia. And this would actually re-strengthen the system if it does go over water. So there still are differences within the GFS, the European ensemble models here, and a lot of the other models as well. So that's something we're going to have to resolve over the next few days. Peak storm surge forecast. If you live from the Indian Pass area all the way down here into places like Tampa Bay, the Charlotte Harbor area, we could see anywhere from 2 to 4, possibly even 3 to 5 foot storm surge there. The further south you go here towards southern Florida, you're more in that 1 to 3 foot storm surge, especially the closer you do get to the Florida Keys. And the rainfall is going to be significant. This system will slow down significantly as it makes landfall here into North Florida and southern southeastern Georgia there. We could be seeing rainfall amounts in excess of 6 to 10 inches in a lot of these areas, and coastal Carolinas, especially for areas there of Charleston, Myrtle Beach. We could be closing in on a foot of rain as we go through Thursday, August the 8th. And this obviously will be producing a lot of flash flooding potential, so no surprise here. We do have a moderate risk for flash flooding for areas of Myrtle Beach, Charleston, down to Savannah, and even the Jacksonville Beach area as we go through Thursday, August the 8th. Now back here across the entire United States, we're still dealing with a strong ridge of high pressure across the west today and tomorrow on Sunday, and this is going to be bringing some very high heat across the United States this afternoon. Temperatures into the 90s and triple digits. Your heat indexes are around 110 here if you live in Houston Metroplex, Lake Charles over here towards New Orleans, into the Gulfport, Mississippi area. A lot of these areas are going to be pushing 110 for your heat indexes as we go into the afternoon. Further north into the Great Plains, still into the upper 90s, low 100s with the heat index, so still not a cakewalk out there. Make sure to stay hydrated. Then as we go to Sunday afternoon, high temperatures back in the 90s, triple digits across the central southern plains and much of the deep south there, and heat indexes back into the 100, 110 range as we go into Sunday afternoon in many of the same areas. Now, we are seeing some severe storm potential. With all this heat, we have the potential for severe weather. We have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather into eastern South Dakota, central and southern Minnesota, northwest Iowa as we go through today. Another level 2 out of 5 slight risk from portions of the Delmarva all the way down here into North Carolina, and this is mainly for damaging winds and hail. The tornado threat is very low. So this afternoon, we have scattered storm coverage across the east. The other slight risk up here into Minnesota, northern Iowa there, in eastern South Dakota. No storms really happening this afternoon. It's mainly this evening we'll see storms really developing across those areas. And there's not much of a steering current, so these storms are going to be moving very slowly to the south-southeast across this region, and heavy rainfall is going to be an impact across this area as well, especially with the slow movement of those storms. And notice out east, those storms, once we lose the daytime heating, the coverage and intensity of those storms into early Sunday morning will be weakening. And then as we go into your Sunday time frame, we are going to see more storm action across portions of the country here. We have more isolated storm coverage across the east, more isolated storm coverage across the upper Midwest. That'll continue into Sunday evening, and a lot of these storms will be moving over the same area, so flash flooding will be a possibility here. You can see rainfall amounts will be anywhere from around a ½ inch to an inch and a half, especially for south central Minnesota into portions of southwestern, western Wisconsin there, and then some heavier tropical induced rains mainly across the East Coast as we do go through Monday, the August 5th time frame. So let's go into next week looking at the long-range weather pattern. That ridge of high pressure is going nowhere. It's going to remain across the desert southwest and the central southern plains. So you guessed it, we're going to have above average temperature anomalies here across the west and the southern United States. The areas that could be 20, 25 degrees above average here for this time of year into early August for next week. And then you can see a little bit of a boundary to the north here where we have cooler air across the upper Midwest into the northeast there and across southern Canada. And this blue blob down here into Georgia, the Carolinas, that is our tropical storm or hurricane that will be impacting us in the southeast coast. That will keep our temperature anomalies well below average as well. And you can see well above average will be our precipitation in that area through next week. So our main two features we're watching in the next week for precipitation is obviously the tropical storm hurricane here across portions of the southeast coast, and then a boundary setting up across the northern U.S. that could squeeze out some precipitation across the northern Rockies, the northern plains, the upper Midwest, and then over here toward the Great Lakes and the Northeast. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. Also, if you did like today's weather forecast, leave a like down below, giving it a thumbs up. I definitely appreciate it. It helps out more than you know. And the forecast breakdown here for today, again, tropical storm, possibly a hurricane impacting the southeast U.S. as we go over the next few days into early next week. Excessive heat will fuel some severe weather, again, throughout the weekend, so watch out for damaging winds and large hail. Tornado threat is low, but not impossible, so we'll be watching out for the tornadoes too. And next week looks hot and dry across most of the United States, but there will be some precipitation again, mainly for the tropical areas of the southeast coast with that tropical storm hurricane, and then across the north with that boundary that we have setting up as well. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you all in tomorrow's video.